Hi, I'm Kira. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my April reading wrap-up. This month I read 8 books, 6 physical books, and 2 Kindle books. And I'm just going to jump right into the Kindle books. The 2 books I read were the 2 books that are currently out in the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. The first one, Mile High. I actually started this the last week of March, but I only got about 100 pages in, but I finished the majority of it in April. And I gave that one 3 stars. So Mile High is about Stevie and Xanders. Xanders is co-captain of a hockey team for the NHL. The team has a private plane that they use, and Stevie is one of the flight attendants on that plane. Xanders is like a playboy. He's seen with a different girl after every game, and that's who his agency wants him to be, like the bad boy, have a reputation, so that his co-captain can be the nice guy because he's married and has kids, and so they want that dynamic. But Xanders is just mean. He keeps up that dynamic during his games and in the public eye, but he doesn't need to be rude in his personal life, like around his teammates. At least that's what I think. He is so rude to Stevie at the beginning of this book. Like the first 30%, he was so mean to her for literally no reason. Because he's like, why doesn't Stevie like me? And I'm just like, dude, she doesn't like you because you were mean to her and literally everyone else, except maybe 3 people. So I did not like Xanders for the majority of this book. I think from 40% to 70%, 80% maybe, I liked him. He was all right. I still don't love him. The conflict of this book, I cannot. Spoiler warning, if you don't want to be spoiled, if you haven't read this and you want to read it, go to this time and you'll be fine. But if you read this, stick around so I can tell you why I didn't like the conflict. Xanders broke up with Stevie because, honestly, I don't even remember exactly why. Something with his reputation. It was like he couldn't be in a relationship because he had the playboy image and his agency wouldn't sign him again for the team for another year. Xanders literally told Stevie, we always knew there was going to be an end to us. Who knew? You? Because it wasn't Stevie. They were not on the same page at all. He was pulling out reasons out of nowhere for why they had to break up that weren't legitimate reasons. Made absolutely no sense to break up. And then Xanders was acting like Stevie was the one who broke up with him when he was the one who broke up with her, and also like begging her to stay with him and come back to him as if she was the one who broke up the relationship, but it was him. It just didn't make sense to me. Okay, spoilers are now done. Other than the last 25% and the first 30%, I liked the middle a lot. It was cute because I liked Stevie, and Xanders was okay during that time when they were together. So that was the first book I read this month / started the last week of March. I'm going to jump ahead a few reads to the second book in the Windy City series, which is The Right Move. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This one follows Ryan and Indy. Ryan is Stevie's brother and Indy is Stevie's co-worker. She's another flight attendant for Xanders' team. So Indy's boyfriend of 6 years broke up with her and she had nowhere to go, so she moves in with Ryan because Stevie used to live there but she moved out, and so there's an open room. So Indy moved in with him, and then they struck up a deal to fake date, basically. Ryan is a basketball player, like one of the biggest in the country. Ryan wants to fake date Indy so he can show his team manager that he's not just like all about the game and is about like family and stuff. And then Indy wants to fake date Ryan in order to show her old friends and her ex-boyfriend that she's moved on, and she wants him to be her date for her friend's wedding. This was so close to being 5 stars. Really so close, except for the last 15%, which is the conflict. Ryan Shea, a new top book boyfriend. I loved Indy too. Indy reminded me of Iris from Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, and I love Iris, therefore I loved Indy because they were kind of similar characters. But the conflict. Something happened and Ryan freaked out. And I knew what happened, and I feel like it was easy to guess from the reader standpoint what had actually happened. So I was annoyed at that because it seemed so obvious to me what had actually happened and that Ryan wasn't looking into it enough and comprehending enough, and they didn't communicate throughout the conflict. So it could have been solved very quickly, but it wasn't because they didn't want to talk to each other about it. But the very ending, how it wrapped up, I liked it. But the conflict made me want to throw my Kindle against the wall, so that's why I got knocked down 0.5 stars. I know the next book in the series is for one of the baseball players we saw in The Right Move, but I'm gonna need Rio's book to be book number 4, because I need that like now. Going to move on to the physical books. The first one is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is book 3 of the Mortal Instruments series. The rest of these books actually have a video that they're featured in, so if you want to see more in-depth thoughts from me on these, then I'll leave those videos in the description. I gave this one 5 stars. I gave City of Bones 4 stars, City of Ashes 4.5 stars, and City of Glass 5 stars. There's just so much that happened in this book, and I wasn't bored for a single second of it. We got to see so many characters grow and different relationships form. It was just great. I loved it. I have so many notes on this, but all of my thoughts are in the Shadowhunters vlog I did, so I'll try to keep this short. This one, I don't know how much I can say because it is the 3rd book in the series and you do need to read the first 2. But basically, they're no longer in New York, which is something that I really liked because the first 2 were set in New York and I was getting a little bored of that setting because we were in the same places. But we got new places in this one. And they're still trying to figure out the mystery of Clary's mom and how to get her back and stuff and fighting off Valentine. I think that's all I'm going to say for this, but I really loved it. And I'm excited to continue with this world. I don't know when I will, but I'm excited when I get there. These next 4 I'm going to show you were part of my 20 book list challenge part 2, and that was the video posted before this one, The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I put off reading this for so long. I think I had this on my shelf for 2 years, and that was because I'd seen so many mixed opinions on this. I gave this 3.5 stars. I could see both ends of why people love it, why people hate it. So this is about Leon and Tiffy, and Tiffy just broke up with her boyfriend, or fiance, and she's looking for someone to share an apartment with. Leon put out this thing like, he's something in the medical world and he works the night shift. So he's only home during the day and then he's out all night. And Tiffy has a normal day job, so she's out during the day and only home at night. So Leon put out this thing like, if you want to share an apartment, we will literally never see each other and we'll have basically our own apartment during our times that we're there. They didn't physically meet each other until about 100 pages in, and I personally didn't really like that because as soon as they did meet each other, that's when it picked up for me, and that's when I was really liking it. And then again, we got to the conflict. It was a stupid conflict that I didn't like, and it just didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense to me at all. It was miscommunication, and it wasn't just between Leon and Tiffy. There was also some miscommunication between Tiffy and her best friend, and that just did not make absolutely any sense to me. Just talk it out, please. That's all I ask of you. And also, Leon's this is dual POV, and Leon's chapters were written as if he was writing a list of bullet points in his head. It was very straight to the point, and there was barely any like pronouns of I. Like he never said I did this, I did that. It was just do this, do that. I did get used to it about halfway in, but I still didn't really like it. 3.5 stars. I read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. 2 stars. I had such high hopes for this because it seemed like everyone loved this. Maybe if I read this as like my first ever thriller, I would have liked it a lot more, but I've read a bunch and I know what I like in a thriller, and it's not this. The plot twist, literally what? It had me questioning literally the entire book in a way that I didn't like. I want a plot twist to make me question things in a good way, and it didn't do that. I wanted something else to happen, and it didn't happen. This is about a woman, Alicia, and she killed her husband. And then she refused to say anything about it. And then comes along this guy, Theo, who is a psychotherapist, and he's like, I'm gonna get it out of her. I'm gonna find out what happened. Theo is our narrator in this, and we get so much of his life and not Alicia, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be like Alicia's point of view, leading up to the murder of her husband. Some parts of the story, we get Alicia's like diary that she wrote leading up to the murder of her husband. I wish that's what the entire book was just Alicia's diaries, and then it ends a different way. Camera battery died, but it's now charged. I'm back. There's now a guest. My favorite read of the month. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is now one of my all-time favorite books, 5 stars. It's about Archer and Bree. Something happened to Bree, so she's leaving her hometown for a bit and goes to Maine and stays in this small town. And in that small town is Archer, and he has had a rough life, to say the least. He's kind of like the outcast of the town, and he's mute. He can't talk, so he uses sign language, but no one in the town knows sign language, so they all just think he's weird because he doesn't talk. This felt like a comfort read, even though I was reading it for the first time. I just got that feeling. 50 pages in, I knew it was gonna be 5 stars, and halfway through, I already wanted to go back and reread it, and I wasn't even finished with it yet. So, a new all-time favorite. Another favorite of the month, Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Another 5 stars. I had 3 5 stars this month. Carrie Soto's Back is about Carrie Soto, who is a retired tennis player, but she decides to come out of retirement for 1 year because someone tied her record of Grand Slam wins. She had 20 Grand Slam titles, and then a newcomer tied her. And so she's coming back out of retirement for 1 more year to play in the 4 Grand Slams of the year so she can try to get her record back from this other girl. I am a former tennis player, high school team, so it's not that serious, but this spoke to me in ways that it probably didn't for other people who didn't play tennis. And the way she wrote the matches had my heart racing and on the edge of my seat waiting to see who was gonna win. So I really like that. I'm 3 for 3 on Taylor Jenkins Reid. 7 Husbands, Daisy Jones, and now Carrie Soto. All 5 stars. Someone tell me what to read next. Finally, we have my last book, and I technically finished this today, and today is May 1st. I read like 50 pages today, so I'm counting it as April because I read the majority of it in April. That is Days of Blood and Starlight. This is the second book in the Daughters, Smoke and Bones trilogy. I don't think it has another name. I give this 2 stars. In 2021, I read Daughters, Smoke and Bone. Gave it 4.5 stars. I really liked it, and I still stand by that. From what I remember it being 4.5 star worthy. Then, a couple weeks after that, I picked this book up. I read half of it, and then I put it down and didn't pick it back up until now, 2 years later, almost. I got through it all this time. I reread the first 250 pages that I had previously read, and I understand why I stopped and didn't pick it back up, but I also stopped at a point where something big happened, or was about to happen, so I don't know why I stopped there. And at that moment, I thought, oh, this could be 3 stars. My main thing was that since I had read the first book such a long time ago, and read the first part of this such a long time ago, I didn't really remember much of what happened, and I was highly confused the whole time reading this. And I don't remember being confused the first book as much. There were so many storylines happening in this. There was one storyline where I have no idea where it ended up. I don't know if it was concluded, if it was just put in there for no reason. I was very confused. I still don't understand what happened. Like, I don't know if I missed something happening with that specific storyline, but it was very small and didn't feel like it fit in anywhere. I am going to read Dreams of Gods and Monsters, which is the last book of this trilogy. I just don't know when. That is the end of my wrap up for this month. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on these books. Comment down below what your favorite read of the month was, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video.